Speak at the State House as the Senate President steps aside and a shocking DCYF audit is released. Here's John Keller with more.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. What a week on Beacon Hill with the departure of Senate President Stan Rosenberg from that post, the very public scramble to succeed him, the arrest of former State Senator Brian Joyce by the feds on charges that were unspecified as we taped this segment on Friday morning, and a scathing audit of DCF by State Auditor Suzanne Bump. Let's talk about all of it, or as much as we can get to, with two of the excellent reporters from the State House News Service, Katie Lannon and Matt Murphy. Welcome to both of you. Katie, good to see you here. Matt, thanks.
John, good morning.
Glad you could join us. So, Senator Rosenberg is staying on as a senator for now, but it appears unlikely, correct me if I'm wrong on this, that he would return to the post of Senate President, almost regardless of what the investigation into the activities of his husband finds. So why did the state Senate install Senator Harriet Chandler of Worcester as acting president when there's an open scramble going on to succeed her? Why didn't they just vacate the chair? Matt, you want to take that?
Well, clearly this was a matter of much debate on Monday when they convened for over 8 hours in private talks in a room on the 4th floor of the State House. And certainly, you know, the idea that the Senate President, or former Senate President now Stan Rosenberg, wants to come back is one that they're not foreclosing completely. And in that, because he's taken a so-called leave of absence, Harriet Chandler, his number 2 in the Senate, was the safe kind of placeholder, someone who doesn't aspire to that seat full-time, who the full body has confidence in, while there are, as you said, at least 4 jockeying now for position. She's someone that was respected and is willing to step aside, at least when this investigation is over.
Well, as I understand the Senate rules, Katie, all you need is 21 votes to vacate the chair of Senate President. If Rosenberg decides he wants to return, and 21 senators don't think that's a good idea or are rallying behind someone else, then we're going to start the new year with quite the Donnybrook up there.
Right. I mean, it's kind of up in the air at this point what is going to happen when the investigation is complete, how long that investigation will go. Senators have been reluctant to kind of put a time frame on it. There's been a lot of loyalty to Senator Rosenberg from that body in the past. It'll be interesting to see if he does try to return to his post. It'd be kind of an unusual and unprecedented situation.
So this is an amazing story, but a lot of it is inside baseball. I think some of our viewers, many of our viewers, might be wondering, you know, what does this mean to me? What does this mean to state policy? Stan Rosenberg is known as a liberal, and the Senate is regarded as much more liberal than the House, but he's also been very sort of collaborative within the Senate, working with the governor's office, working with the House. Let's stay with you on this one, Katie. How might this show up in terms of policy that affects our viewers?
Sure. We have a couple major pending issues when Beacon Hill kind of comes back to its full schedule in January. And Stan Rosenberg, with House Speaker Robert DeLeo and Governor Charlie Baker, they're the big 3. We're going to be, they're the top policy figures on Beacon Hill, and we're going to have a new leg of that stool in acting Senate President Harriet Chandler. The 3 with Rosenberg have had a kind of productive working relationship, but you often see the Speaker and the Governor more aligned.
Yeah.
It'll be kind of an open question how Harriet Chandler mixes up that dynamic.
Briefly, Matt, because we have to take a break here, do you see the balance of power shifting more to the DeLeo-Baker axis just because of the turmoil?
Certainly. I mean, there's certainly upheaval, and in Chandler you have someone who's going to continue, and it was popular with the progressives. Some House members would say privately they were hoping for a reset in relations with a new Senate president, but with divisions over who would lead that body going forward, Chandler's could be just a continuation.
Wow. Okay. Well, we'll have to see how that plays out. We'll take a quick break, and we'll continue our conversation about what's going on Beacon Hill in a moment. So please stay with us.